It's time to go. Good morning. Good to see each one of you here. See a few empty seats, but we'll go on anyway. Would somebody take up the pennies for the penny march? Olivia, the only little lady we got here, take up the pennies today. So y'all ought to be able to fill that basket up. Get you one of them baskets.
Here, Lydia.
Okay, thank you. Have any birthdays or anniversaries this past week that you'd like to tell us about? We've got something coming up for this month. July is usually a good month. No birthdays or anniversaries. Okay, let me see if I can go through some announcements. This week, Tuesday night, the ladies meet here in the fellowship building at 6:30. They've asked the men to come and help them on a float. Apparently, they're going to run for the Fun Fest parade. Okay, so all the men, if we can, come out here Tuesday night, 6:30, and meet with the ladies, and they'll feed us. So that's a pretty good deal. We can work a little bit for some food. So everybody come out and help us. And Wednesday night prayer meeting, 7 o'clock. It's a business meeting. Yeah. Correct. So we've got a little bit of business to take care of, mainly for the quarterly meeting, which is the 22nd of this month. It'll be 2 weeks from yesterday. 22nd at Phipps Bend, Free Will Baptist Church. And it meets at 10 o'clock. So is that all the announcements at this time? Okay. Olivia, since you're up and around, take up the offering for us, will you? Will you take up the offering for us? I've got the big plate, and you can take this time. Here. Yeah, let Randall ask the blessing on the offering before you go.
Hang on. Lord, we want to come to you and thank you for this offering we're about to receive, and thank you for each and every one who's made it out this way, Lord. Pray that you have this, Lord, to use this money and build the doctrine for the name of Jesus. Amen.
Please. Okay. Got a few out today, but we're gonna make it anyway. Does anybody have a request for prayer at this time before we pray? Any requests?
I just want to thank God for having me back in this, continuing along with the next day, very strong trials and like that. But I said I'll come home to see you and come and be at these as a blessing.
Good, good. Thank you. Any other requests?
We'd like to thank your church. We found out this morning Ginger got her job, so we're going to pray.
Where's she working at?
She's going to go work at
Eastern, that's great.
For Eastern, for a company that works in Eastern. Building 70.
Okay.
What was it?
75?
78.
That bill there, young lady. Okay. Thank the Lord for that. Linda had a request in Sunday school. She's having some problems with her breathing. Let's remember her to pray. Remember our church, remember those in our church, Kevin and his family's down at Pigeon Forge, and Michelle and Brad and Paley's out. Remember them. These others, Miss Ruth back yonder, she usually comes, and Miss Herb, and a few of our people out, so let's remember them, wherever they might be. Everyone will, let's get around the altar and pray this morning. Our precious Heavenly Father, we come to you as humble Father now with that. Thank you, Lord, for the goodness of your wisdom. Thank you for your cheer. Thank you, Lord, for this church, Lord, and what it means to us. Thank you, Lord. Good people who have worship. Thank you, Lord, for the lives from the other streets, Lord. Thank you for the Sunday school. Lord, thank you for everything. Thank you, Lord, for all you all forgive us, Lord, for those Lord, sin and fail of God. Forgive more courage to share. Pray you save our lost people, Lord. We are always strength and good experience, Lord. We need you to pray you send your Holy Spirit. With us each time we don't as we pray sick, abandoned, or questioned by your days and all battle word of precious thanks for helping these people. Lord, let's stand in need. Thank you, Lord. Thank you for everything you've done for us. Bless the remainder of the service with this team. We will stand and bring the message. Give the message that we stand in need of, for we ask it all in your name. Okay, Miss Debbie. I don't know where I'm at about Bible school or not, but it's on the 24th through the 28th, so everybody remember that.
She went to the restroom. I woke up singing this song, and when we sing it, you'll know why. 295, when I make my life smooth.
It's just that.
Yeah.
Oh, this one.
I've been trying much of my life. I just woke up singing this morning. Let's see. I've been traveling for Jesus so much of my life. I've been traveling on land and on sea. But I'm counting on taking a trip to the sky. That will be the last move for me. When I'm
last night. When I moved to the sky, up to heaven on high, what a wonderful trip that will be. I'm all ready to go, hoisting cavalry's flow. That will be the last move for me. Here I'm bothered with packing each time that I move, and I carry a load in each hand. But oh Lord, did one thing I have used in this world when I moved to that heavenly land. When I moved to the sky, up to heaven on high, what a wonderful trip that will be. I'm all ready to go, hoisting cavalry's flow. That will be the last move for me. Let's do 285. I have found a friend in Jesus. He's everything to me. He's the fairest of 2,000 to my soul. The lily of the valley, in Him alone I see. All I need to cleanse and make me fully whole. In sorrow He's my comfort, in trouble He's my stay. He tells me every care on Him to roll. He's the lily of the valley, the bright and morning star. He's the fairest of 10,000 to my soul. He all my grief has taken and all my sorrows borne. In temptation He's my strong and mighty tower. I have all for Him forsaken and all my idols torn from my heart, and now He keeps me by His hand. Though all the world forsakes me and Satan tempts me sore, through Jesus I shall safely reach the goal. He's the lily of the valley, the bright and morning star. He's the fairest of 10,000 to my soul. He will never, never leave me, nor yet forsake me here, while I live by faith in His blessed will. I'm all afar about Him, I've nothing now to fear. With His manna He my hungry soul shall feed. Then sweeping up to glory to see His blessed face, whose rivers of delight shall ever roll. He's the lily of the valley, the bright and morning star. He's the fairest of 10,000 to my soul. Let's do 349. Many years I've traveled on this weary road, watched the fleeting changes, tried to share some love. Now my work is finished, steps are mighty slow. I've been waiting, Lord, to go. I've been waiting on the shore. Long I've traveled, ain't gonna travel no more. Chains have made me falling, steps are getting slow. shades are making falling, steps are getting slow. I've been waiting, Lord, to come. Let's do 409. Tempted and tried, we're all made to wander. Why it should leave us all the day long, while there are others living about us. Never more resting, though in the wrong. On the road we'll know all about it. On the road we'll understand why. Cheer up, my brother, live in the sunshine. We'll understand it all by and by. When death has come and taken our loved ones, it leaves our hearts so lonely and free. Then do we wonder why others prosper, living so wicked year after year. On the road we'll know all about it. On the road we'll understand why. Cheer up, my brother, live in the sunshine. We'll understand it all by and by. Faithful to death, and our loving Master. A few more days to labor and wait. Tolls of the roll will then seem as nothing as we swing through the beautiful
Truly, there's a lot of things we don't understand right now. Another one of those perfect storms today, it looks like. It's where everybody is either sick or on vacation or out, and it's just not everybody. We're here. We got more than 2 or 3, so we got one more than our eyes can see, but our heart can feel him here. So we'll just keep pressing on. Does anybody have a song or a testimony?
Lisa and I'll sing the song.
Okay.
We'll sing with us.
I'm sure she rolled her eyes. I didn't look at her.
I'm sure. She sings this one every time. Come on. You know, Mark's right. There's a lot of things we don't understand. You know, we have, people that leave us in their 20s, in their 30s, in their 50s, in their 70s, 80s. And then we have some that live to be 100. We don't understand those things, but God does, But one day, it's not going to matter because come morning, it's all going to be okay. So, Lisa sings this, I think. Yeah, she does. She's going to sing it this morning. God's children to all have been they are longing for heaven's green shore, where heartaches are left far behind us, and burdens are carried no more. The morning I walk by the river, I'll rest in the evergreen tree. So I'll carry my cross through the midnight. The morning there's glory for me. Sometimes nothing must be in a question of Father, how long? And I'll take one more look at Mount Calvary, and it gives me the strength to go on. The morning I walk by the river, I'll rest in the evergreen tree. So I'll carry my cross through the midnight. The morning there's glory for me.
Anybody else? I gave Barbie like 24 hours notice, and then we forgot to practice it last night. So, because she's never sung it before. It's an easy song, but don't shake your head at me. It's an easy song. That's all right. Maybe we can practice it today, sing it tonight or something. We'll see. But I turned on the TV this morning. I decided to lay there for an extra 30 minutes or so, and apparently, I don't know if they replayed last week's message or what it is, but I was turning it on and watched Charles Stanley was on at 8 o'clock, I think. And as I turned it on, I looked and saw what he was reading. I was like, holy cow, we've got 66 books. How many pages are there in here? And he's in the same verses that I'm going to be in this morning. Now, how in the world did that happen? But, you know, we've been going through this series, and I'm not telling you what it is yet, but there have been clues, and this will be another clue. But I like to do this just because it gets you paying attention. It gets you thinking. And there is a good message in this that you'll look at things a little differently when we're done. Okay? And that's what I want to do. I mean, if we can do things just a little bit differently than what we've been doing them, I think that's a good thing, because a lot of times we fail, we come short. But we're going to read in Joshua chapter number 1 today, and I'll get over to that verse I said we was going to be out of, so we'll get over there here in just a few minutes. But in Joshua chapter number 1 is where we're going to be, and this is very familiar scripture. I'm just going to go ahead and start reading in verse number 1, and I'll go through verse number 9. This is a very familiar story. We know where this comes from. Moses has just passed away. That's how it starts in verse number 1 there. And Joshua is getting ready to take over the command of the army of the children of Israel. You see, God gave them the land, but they still had to go take it. Okay? God's giving us salvation today, but we still got to go take it. Okay? It's not just we've got it. We've still got to go take it, and we've still got to accept the gift that He's given us. And there may be a little bit of work involved, and you know, we need to realize that. But that's not the message. That's a little bonus there. But it says here, now after the death of Moses, the servant of the Lord, it came to pass that the Lord spake unto Joshua the son of Nun, Moses' minister, saying, Moses, my servant, is dead. Now therefore arise, go over this Jordan, thou and all this people, into the land which I do give them, even to the children of Israel. And every place that the sole of your foot shall tread upon, that I have given unto you, as I said unto Moses, from the wilderness and this Lebanon, even unto the great river, the river Euphrates, and all the land of the Hittites, and unto the great sea, toward the going down of the sun shall be your coast. And there shall not any man be able to stand before thee all the days of thy life. As I was with Moses, so I will be with thee. I will not fail thee nor forsake thee. Be strong and of a good courage, because of this, for unto this people shalt thou divide for an inheritance the land which I swear unto their fathers to give them. Only be thou strong and very courageous, that thou mayest observe to do according to all the law which Moses my servant commanded thee. Turn not from it to the right hand or to the left, that thou mayest prosper whithersoever thou goest. This book of the law shall not depart out of thy mouth, but thou shalt meditate therein day and night, that thou mayest observe to do according to all that is written therein. For then shalt thou make thy way prosperous, and then shalt thou have good success. Have I not commanded thee? Be strong and of a good courage. Be not afraid, neither be thou dismayed, for the Lord thy God is with thee whithersoever thou goest. I'm going to stop right there. You know, God is giving Joshua his commission here. We were studying in Sunday school about how God calls the prophets. Well, God's calling Jonah here. There is something he says, though, 3 different times in the last 3 verses, in the last 4 verses here, that I want to kind of focus on. But what did he say? He said, be strong and of a good courage. Now, Joshua was facing a battle ahead. He was facing something that he had never faced before. Moses had already been in charge, but Joshua was in charge of helping Moses. It says he was Moses' minister. But now it was going to be up to Jonah to lead the way, lead the children of Israel through into the promised land, and conquer the promised land the way that God said that he would. And what did he say? He said, be strong and of a good courage. In verse number 7, be thou strong and very courageous, And in verse 9 it says, have I not commanded thee, be strong and of a good courage? He wants Joshua to be strong and to have courage. Well, where does courage come from today? You know, if I look at if I look back at the people that are courageous, you know, who do we consider to be courageous? Now we look at heroes differently, I think, than we should. I think we look at heroes like those people that we see in comic books. Those people who have these superpowers, and you know, we went and watched Spider-Man on Friday night or Friday afternoon, and we went and watched it. Of course, we think of Superman, we think of Batman, we think of all these people that have all these tools and things that available to them, all these superpowers. But you know, to me, being courageous does not mean going in and being able to win a victory. Being courageous is standing up when you know that you could lose it all and you still stand. You know, when I think of courage, what I think of are the soldiers that are out in the field. When I think of courage, I think of the firefighters that enter burning buildings. When I think of courage, I think of the police officers that go in knowing that when the door opens, or you know, they have to approach cars with caution because they don't know when someone's pointing a gun at them to shoot them. When they know that they may lose their life just in the line of duty to do their job, you know, that's courage to me. Courage isn't the absence of fear. And this is what I wanted to focus on today, is what is courage today. You know, courage is not the absence of fear, but courage is being able to stand even in the midst of fear. You know, the Bible says that God had not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind. We have power today, but we have it not within ourselves. We have it through God. We have to realize that. Joshua was not told, it was not told, you're strong, you're able to do it. What did he say? He said, be strong and of good courage in verse number 9. Be not afraid, neither be thou dismayed. Why? But for the Lord thy God is with thee whithersoever thou goest. We don't have to be brave because we know that nothing can happen to us. We need to be brave and we need to be courageous when we face battles in this world, because we know that we have one walking with me that's bigger than all the bullies of the world. You know, the thing that we have to remember today, and the thing that we have to look at, are the things that God has done throughout time. What brings courage today? Courage is brought to me more than anything by experience. If we look at the things that God has done and all the things that God's brought us through in this life, we can look back and we can have courage in knowing that God is going to be with us the rest of the way. I look at the story of David and Goliath. David had courage today to stand before a man that was 9 feet tall. David was short. David was probably shorter than I was, if I have to imagine it. He was a young man, probably only about 5 foot, 5'5", somewhere around in there. Goliath stood 4 feet over him, but yet he had courage. Why? What did he say? Tell Saul? He said, Saul, he said, I slew a lion and I slew a bear. He said, I've done this before. God was with me then, and He'll be with me today. You know what we can do is, when we want to have courage, is we can look back at all the times that God's been with us each and every day throughout our lives, that He's never left us, He's never forsaken us, He's always going to be with us, and we can look back at all the things that God's brought us through and know that the next time we face a battle, we can stand with courage today, knowing that God's going to be with us. Sometimes it just simply takes a matter of faith to have courage. Maybe He's never brought us through this way before, but we know He's brought us through everything else. We just need to have faith that He's going to bring us through this one. You think of the 3 Hebrew children that we saw in the video last week, how they stood in the midst when everybody else was bowing down. They were willing to stand up for their God. Why? Because they had courage. They had courage knowing, what did they tell the king? No, they didn't tell him that in the movie. I was very disappointed with that story, to be quite honest with you, because the king said, you need to bow down. And they said, or you're going to be thrown in the fiery furnace. And they said, if you throw us in the fiery furnace, that's fine with us, because our God is well able to deliver us. That's no big deal. But if you don't, know this, king, that we're never going to bow down and worship you. They had courage to stand up against the one that was standing against them. Why? Because they knew the one that was with them was greater than the ones that were in the world. You see, courage comes from knowing that you're the biggest and the strongest, doesn't it? Knowing that you can see people that I remember when I was playing baseball in high school, okay, and I stood against a guy, and I'm not kidding you. The first pitch he threw, I never saw it. I really didn't. I heard it. It came. I was like, "What in the world was that?" I never saw the pitch, and they told me it was fast. He was bigger. He was stronger. He could throw the ball harder than I could even imagine. I couldn't even hit the ball. But you know what happened? What happened? The coach had given me a way to be really quick on my swing. And then, you know, the first time I struck out. But I didn't. I came back up the next time. And I hit the ball. And I got a base hit. I'm like, you know what? I can do this. This isn't impossible. And what we find out is when we realize something's not impossible, we get a little more courage. So I came up a little more courage the next time. And you know what I did? I got another base hit. And you know, that's what happens when we don't put people higher than they should be. You realize that you can do it. You know, I've always heard this saying, if you think you can, or you think you can't, you're probably right. Because I think a lot of times the reason we're unable to accomplish the things that God wants us to accomplish is because we simply are afraid to give it a try. Because we think we're going to fail. You know, maybe we will fail. Maybe we will succeed. But I'll guarantee you, if you go in believing that you're going to succeed, then you're going to end up being better off. I do that on the golf course all the time. I do that in life all the time. I know I'll get up there, and right now, I'll be honest with you, I can't hit a drive to save my life. You give me an iron, I'm hitting it fine. You give me a 3-wood, no problem. I get my driver in my hand, I'm like, I don't know where this is going. Now, there was a day where I would hit my driver as straight as it could be. I knew that I was going to hit it straight down the middle of the fairway. Didn't even have to think about it. I stepped up, swung, hit it, didn't even think about it. But you know what I'm thinking? When I'm swinging the club, I'm thinking, don't hit it left, don't hit it right, don't do this, don't do that. You know the problem with people, and you know what happens? It goes left, it goes right, it goes anywhere but straight. But when you're standing up there and you're saying, I want to hit it straight, this is where it's going to go, then you know what? Most of the time it goes up there. But the problem is negative thoughts enter into our mind, and it gets us to the point where we can't, where that's all we're thinking about. The problem with Christians today is we don't have the courage to stand against the world. So what we're doing is we're getting in this defensive position. Let's don't do this. Let's don't do that. Let's don't mess up. Let's don't make anybody mad. Let's don't do this. Instead of saying, I'm going to stand up and I'm going to live for God and here's what we're going to do, and we push forward, we're in this don't phase. Okay, and that's what the church is doing today. We're saying, I don't want to do this. I don't want to mess up. I'm afraid that I might be misreading what God's telling me to do, so I don't want to go there. You know what? If God's telling you to do something, go with confidence, go with courage, and make no mistake about it that if He's telling you to go, He'll be with you every step of the way. David went with courage. He didn't go saying, boy, I hope I don't miss. Don't sling this backwards, you know. No, he was like, Goliath, I come to you with in the name of the Lord, and he let them have it right between the eyes. He knew where that stone was going. He had no doubt where that stone was going. Why? Because he knew God was guiding that stone. We need to hit the ground running. We need to have courage today and faith, believing that God's going to be there every step of the way, and we need to move forward with courage today without the fear that we've had. So many times I think we want to give the devil way too much credit. And we'll talk about him next time, okay? But we want to give him too much credit. We have to have courage today to believe and to know what is courage? And this is the phrase that God gave me yesterday. I've never heard this before, and if I have heard this before, I've forgotten it, so I'm going to take credit for this quote, okay? Courage is not the absence of fear. It's the proper placement of it. Okay? I want you to think about that. Courage is not the absence of fear, but it's the proper placement of it. What does that mean? We shouldn't be fearing the devil today. We shouldn't be fearing the world today. We should be fearing God today. What does the Bible say? Fear God who can destroy both body and soul in hell. You know, we should have, not that we're trembling and afraid to do anything, but we need to have enough respect for him that when he says go, then we ought to be afraid to disobey him. But you know what? It seems like we're the opposite today. When God says go do this, we don't care to tell him no. But when the world tells us not to do something, we'll absolutely, I don't want to make anybody mad. We've gotten to where we back down to the world so much that the people who are doing the right thing are ended up losing the battle because we're afraid we might offend somebody. We're afraid we might do something wrong. We're afraid we might get in trouble for it. Well, I'm telling you what, I'd rather be in trouble with the world today than be in trouble with God, because there's a whole lot worse punishment, and it's going to last a whole lot longer if we're not obedient to God and His Word. We need to have courage today to stand up, because I'll tell you, you look at these people and the confidence that these, you can look at pro athletes, or you can talk about actors. I remember standing and listening one time to Bill Gates. Bill Gates is a rich guy, and he has all the money that he'll ever need here on this earth. Okay, you better. I hope the man's saved. I don't know if he is, but if he isn't, he can be. It doesn't matter. I mean, if you're rich, if you're poor, God is the Savior to all. If you'll just turn his life over to Him, he can be saved. But I remember sitting and listening to him speak one time. Now, there were three people on the stage. There were probably four, but there's three that I remember. There was Bill Gates, who was president and CEO of Microsoft. Okay. Now, we've all used computers. Most of us have anyway, but we're familiar with these terms. There was a guy that was, his name was William Barksdale, and he was the CEO of a company called Netscape at the time. And there was a guy, Steve Case, who was the president and CEO of America Online. Now, the interesting thing was, there was Microsoft had just come out with their new browser, Internet Explorer. Now, we all use that, and we've used that every single day, it seems like. They had just come out with that. It was part of their products, okay? Netscape, that was their product. It was a browser called Netscape, okay? That was their product. It was number one on there. They were nervous. You could tell that Barksdale was as nervous as he could be. Bill Gates wasn't. Why? Because, he didn't care if he lost the battle. He knew that he had other irons in the fire. He was confident in himself, and he was sitting there just talking normally, but Barksdale was stuttering. He was so nervous he couldn't stand it because he knew Microsoft could pretty much bully him out of the market if they just desired to. A lot of times I think when we face bullies, we get nervous. We get nervous. Why? Because we view ourselves as weak. The thing is that it doesn't matter how big the bully in the world gets, they're never going to be bigger than our God. So we ought to be able to stand up with confidence, knowing that no matter what happens to us, that we still serve that God that's bigger than any bully that we're ever going to face down here. And that's what gives us courage, in knowing that we're going to actually be victorious. Whether or not we see it, whether or not we can feel it, whether or not we can understand it, we ought to have courage in knowing that God is with us, and we're going to be victorious. You see, Joshua was commanded to be strong and of a good courage. Courage gives us strength. Okay, and as we have courage, we can be stronger. It breeds confidence. And we'll be able to win the battles that the devil's going to throw at us. We're going to face people out there that are going to make fun of us. We're going to face people that are going to try to stop us. And we're going to face people that are going to try to hinder us. But we're still going to be able to get through if we just simply have enough courage to know that God is right there next to us and going to see us through to victory every step of the way. We need to be strong and of a good courage, because Joshua was facing battles, real battles but what the first one he faced was the Battle of Jericho. And what was he told to do? He had to have enough courage to believe that God just wanted him to march around the city. March around the city once each day for 6 days, and then the last day march around it 7 times. And on the 7th time blow the trumpet, and the walls came tumbling down. And that's the thing. He had to have enough courage to believe that God was going to do whatever it was that he was going to do, and all he had to do was be an instrument. You know, these instruments up here, we went up to and on the porch there at the Red Goose Motel, there was a player piano. You can put $1 in and play itself. But these instruments, they can't play themselves. We need to be like these instruments. You just have to have enough courage to be who you are, and just let the master play the instrument, and let him work in us. But we need to be strong and of a good courage. Neither be not afraid, for God hath not given us the spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind. Courage is not leaving fear behind, but it's knowing where to place it. So y'all come on, get a song. That's all I got. There are people that start businesses, and what do? They have to be brave. Because a lot of times they're putting their life savings into that business. Mm-hmm. But it's their dream and they want to try it. Some of these people fail. Some of them succeed. But you'll never succeed if you never try. And the problem is with us Christians today, we never want to try. Let's all stand.
Page 212. If you're in the battle for the Lord and right, keep on the firing line. If you win, my brother, surely you must fight. Keep on the firing line. There are many dangers that we all must face. If we die fighting, it is no disgrace. Coward in the service, he will find no place. So keep on the firing line. You must fight, be brave against all evil. Never run nor even lag behind. If you would win for God and the right, just keep on the firing line. God will only use the soldier he can trust. Keep on the firing line. If you wear a crown, then bear the cross you must. Keep on the firing line. Life is but to labor for the master dear. Help to banish evil and to spread good cheer. Great you'll be rewarded for your service here. So keep on the firing line. You must fight, be brave against all evil. Never run nor even lag behind. If you would win for God and the right, just keep on the firing line.
It seemed like that song would play every service when I was being called to preach. But I would tell God no. I learned better that when God says go, you can go. So let's when God tells us to do something, let's have enough courage to stand up and do it. A lot of times when we back off, we end up causing more heartache than we should. So come back tonight at 6 o'clock. As far as I know, regular service. Is that right? Is that weird? That's weird. I would say it's 2 in a row. No, we had our our dinner last week. So we'll have our regular service tonight. Come back Wednesday night. We'll do our business meeting. Probably start on chapter 3, Philippians. Anybody else have anything? All right, David, you dismiss us.
Heavenly Father, thank you for this day. The message. Thank you for each one cheer. Everything you've done for us. Lord, lead us, guide us, direct us, for so protect us. Pray the cease works are home safely, be with us throughout this day. And it's back to the house tonight, with Mr. Presence, we may hear, these three nieces are, so that's the
You know, I like that song.